7 News starts now, live with breaking news.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. 7 News at 7. As you'd expect, we have continuing coverage of Hurricane Helene tonight. Moved through the area in the very early morning areas, bringing an incredible amount of rain and devastating wind.
And lots of destruction as well. It brought down many trees to our area. We'll show you some video here. This is a look at Wade Hampton Boulevard in Greer in Greenville County. You can see Greer officers there on the scene after a tree had fallen over, and they're trying to clean that up all day today. It brought down some power lines too. This man's actually working with a chainsaw to cut down the trees and help clear the road there.
Let's take another look here. Here's a tree on the interstate in Spartanburg County. It's around noon today, 26 westbound, so you're headed towards Business 85 here around exit 19. The interstates, for the most part, while there is debris in the road, especially those outer lanes, the interstates mostly are passable at this point. The problem you're going to have out there at this point is getting to the interstate. Even getting out of your own neighborhood or your own apartment complex today will be difficult. In this case, on 26, vehicles were able to get around that tree in the one passable lane. But trees all over the place have come down in Spartanburg County and throughout the upstate tonight. Team coverage of that damage from the upstate and western North Carolina, beginning with Christy Henderson.
All right, thanks a lot, Gordon and Kelsey. That system, of course, made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane around Perry, Florida. Just to the southeast of Tallahassee, 140-mile-an-hour winds. It was a large hurricane, a major hurricane, and it had some speed to it. That's why we got in on some of those higher wind gusts. In fact, the winds gusted 60 to 70 miles per hour for several hours this morning in Anderson, downtown Greenville, also GSP, and it moved just to the west of Clemson. So we were right in the core of those very strong winds. Well, it's already fallen apart across the state of Tennessee tonight. So quite a bit of rain falling associated with an upper level area of low pressure, and that will have some influence on our weather over the weekend. It's going to help us to see just isolated showers, but for now we're dry. More rain and storms off to our northeast, and the winds have settled down as well. Look at that. They're blowing at less than 10 miles per hour out of the south. In most locations, the wind gusts have gone away, and it's the gust on the saturated ground that pushes the trees over. So still there are some weak trees leaning, so you have to still be careful out there, but it's a lot quieter than it was earlier today. Temperatures are in the 60s and 70s. We'll bottom out in the 60s for tonight. More in the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Christy. Let's take a look. This is an outage map brought to us by Duke Energy. These are sort of big blocks of areas that don't have power, with 6,000 and 5,000 and 4,000 in different places. Here's the way to best understand this. At one point or another, 100% of Duke Energy customers have had some kind of outage, and the overwhelming majority of those customers are still in the dark, myself included. That power may not only be out for the rest of the day today, but for many of us, it will be several days. They've got to begin with those interstate transmission lines, work their way down to all those different places where your own neighborhoods are hooked up. So many power lines down. It is going to be a while, so please be patient with those folks trying to get the lights back on. In western North Carolina, of course, they're experiencing much of the same problem. The dam at Lake Lure, a particular concern. Emergency crews have been trying to evacuate people who live downriver. Problem is going to go get all of those people. The roads there are difficult to access. Our Colin Riviello made it as far as Polk County.
We were on our way to Lake Lure in Rutherford County when, as you can see behind me, we got stuck here on North Carolina 108 in Polk County. That's because of water from the Green River right next to me rising over the road and blocking us, all due to the effects of Hurricane Helene. North Carolina DOT officials tell us the Green River flows into the Broad River in neighboring Rutherford County. That river sits below the Lake Lure Dam, which Rutherford County officials say is in imminent danger of failing. A mandatory evacuation has been ordered for residents on more than 30 roads below the Broad River. Transportation officials say stay home if your life is not in danger.
Try to stay off the roads as best. I know the weekend's coming up and everybody wants to come look, but give us time to open these roads back up safely, because washouts, you can't stress it enough. Turn around, don't drown.
That official tells us it'll take several days for the water behind me on North Carolina 108 to recede. Reporting in Polk County, Colin Riviello, 7 News.
We've had to that point a number of reports of swiftwater rescues so far, and now we know 19 South Carolinians so far have been confirmed killed by this storm in the upstate. 5 of those are in Spartanburg County, 2 in Anderson County, 4 in Greenville County. And across the state, there are 4 more people who have died in Aiken County, 2 in Saluda County. Those 2 were volunteer firefighters responding to a call when a tree hit the truck in which they were riding. Newberry County as well. 2 more people have died. Highway Patrol says again those 2 deaths in Saluda County were firefighters. Most of these deaths have been from trees hitting someone's home, though not all. At least 1 person trapped in a vehicle.
Such a devastating up there. We'll take a closer look at the Spartanburg County Sheriff's Office, who says 5 people were killed in those storm-related deaths. As Gordon mentioned, a tree fell onto a pair of homes in the county, killing people inside. 2 others died when a tree fell on them while they were riding a golf cart. And sadly, we were reporting that we've learned someone was killed while trying to cross the water that had taken over the road. Our Julia Keener reports.
We drove around Spartanburg County today and saw a lot of damage, a lot of flooded roads, a lot of down power lines, and a lot of down trees, kind of like the one behind me. The damage was widespread across the entire county. Emergency crews across the county responded to numerous calls, even responding to a water rescue. Spartanburg County Coroner Rusty Clevenger and Sheriff Chuck Wright say people should stay home and stay cautious to their surroundings.
This is the worst of the worst. These are the instances where people are trapped by the trees and unfortunately aren't able to speak about it afterwards. But I cannot say enough about, from the fire departments to everybody else that's jumped right in and helped us with these families. The instance we had going on, before I say a word, I want to give them tribute and thanks for the training and the time they put in and what they do for this community.
Sheriff Chuck Wright also stressed when coming to an intersection with no power, make sure to treat that as a 4-way stop. In Spartanburg, Julia Keener, 7 News.
And some helpful information there earlier. The Spartanburg County coroner said 6 deaths were storm-related in the county. Clevenger later confirmed that one of those deaths in the western part of the county was not storm-related.
2 of those deaths, again, were in Anderson County. Chloe Salsameda standing by live with what she's learned about one of those deaths.
Gordon, it's just a tragic situation here in Anderson County. The coroner tells us that 54-year-old Sandy Lee Fisher died earlier this morning when a tree fell on top of her home. He says she was sleeping on her sofa when high winds brought that tree down and it landed onto the center of her trailer. Fisher's body was found under debris around 10 a.m. this morning. The coroner says her body had to be extricated from the home.
Both, it took extensive extrication to get them out of the residence just from the enormous size of the trees. These weren't just small limbs that fell. These were large, large trees that fell.
Now, because it's still windy out, the coroner encourages everyone to stay off the roads unless you need to be outside. For now, live in Anderson County, Chloe Salsameda, 7 News.
Chloe, thank you for that report there. Now, earlier in the day, we found out about another death in Anderson County. Our Taylor Farmer tells us about an Anderson woman who died on West Whitner Street.
Anderson County has seen heavy rain and strong winds. The Anderson County Coroner's Office has confirmed to us that 1 person has died in their home after a tree fell on it on West Whitner Street.
We're told crews were called to the scene around 7 a.m. Officials tell us 2 people were inside the home when the large tree hit. Crews said they were able to rescue 1 man out of the home, but a woman who was in the home has died. Anderson Fire Chief Charlie King says that they received at least 11 calls before 9 a.m. on Friday morning for reports of trees falling on homes with people inside.
Crews worked for just about an hour to cut through the tree, cut through the debris to make their way inside and discovered that an adult female had succumbed to her injuries inside. Crews continue to work the scene to make safe for the neighborhood. There are additional trees that have fallen here, so just a lot of work going on in this small community.
In Anderson County, Taylor Farmer, 7 News.
Of course, Governor McMaster addressed the state earlier this afternoon. The National Weather Service saying rainfall totals exceeded 15 inches in parts of the upstate. Statewide, there were more than 60 tornado warnings issued during the course of the storm. Officials say they're still investigating how many of those tornado warnings actually are going to be confirmed tornadoes. Right now, state leaders say the focus has shifted from search and rescue operations McMaster saying additional crews are coming to the upstate to pitch in and help.
We knew it was going to hit the upstate harder than usual, and it really did. Fortunately, we were prepared. We had people positioned there, but we can't stop the waves, can't stop the rising water, can't stop the rivers, and certainly can't stop the trees from being uprooted.
The governor and other state officials are begging for your patience as the aftermath, and we've said this several times, is going to take days, likely weeks to clean up. There are a number of shelters open across the upstate for assistance, especially for folks who don't have power, but maybe have medical needs or other needs to get shelter. Those locations are all listed at WSPA.com.